Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Yeah, a lot of intrigue going on in reality TV has got real serious all of a sudden with what's happened with the what's happening with that song there. What's happened with the Real Wives of, which one is it? My guest will be able to tell me about this. My guest's name is Lawrence Allen, and we're going to talk about this story of the ex-husband of Jamie Lynn Sigler, arrested in an alleged pump dump stock scheme. Wow, that's a mouthful. John, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about the show that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's John Lawrence Allen, and what we're talking about is the proliferation of pump and dump stock scams that have been going on since Wall Street's been around. But the latest one involves the ex-husband of a Sopranos star who was indicted a couple weeks ago for a very substantial pump and dump scam, and what brings to mind is the amount of people that are defrauded on a mass scale, and the problem is most of these pump and dump scams go unreported and nothing's done about it.
Yeah. By the way, this sounds very silly when you say pump and dump, but yeah, absolutely. But it's certainly not light. What are the consequences?
Well, the consequences are the people that invested in these scams lose every penny they put in, and in many instances it's people that either can't afford it or they've invested a substantial portion of their life savings, and they're gone. They've evaporated.
Yeah. And what's the legal consequences for being behind one of these schemes?
Well, if they get caught and if they get prosecuted, they go to jail. As a matter of fact, there was a man that got sentenced to 9 years in prison for a massive pump and dump scam that occurred over a number of years. And there was another person that was indicted and sentenced for $140 million pump and dump scam. In fact, there were 7 individuals, one of which was a man named David Levy, who was sentenced to 9 years in prison, and that occurred over 35 countries that he had been ripping people off.
Wow, that's incredible. So it sounds like it's a pretty big problem. Is it a fairly common problem because a lot's not being done about it? Is this kind of like a safe place for criminals to go?
You know, the criminal is the correct word. Stockbrokers can give people bad advice. They can sell them products, make them more money than they would get from an otherwise prudent product. But pump and dump scams are actual frauds. They're criminal frauds, which the perpetrators, basically what they do is it's mostly played out in the penny stock market world. And that is because they're illiquid, meaning there's not a lot of volume in the activity in the stock. And that way they can control and dominate a market. So what they do is they call up all of their clients, get them to buy the stock, and while they're doing that, they themselves come in and have already built a position before they sell it to their clients, and as the volume picks up, other people start saying, oh, that stock's in play. They run in, gets a big frenzy, the stock runs up, sometimes 200, 300, 400%, and then when they get to the top of the pyramid, the criminals dump their stocks, and there's no buyers left. So, of course, after they're out, then the stocks collapse and their investors lose everything.
Yeah, and isn't this a little bit part of the Wolf of Wall Street as well?
Oh, that was a perfect example of pump and dump. They would go in there and they would promote stocks, call up all their clients, get them to buy the stocks, and then they dump their shares when their clients were buying. So because you always have to have someone to sell to. So if you sell to your own clients, kind of a basic conflict of interest there. You're making money and your clients are ending up behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible, actually. But you're saying it doesn't happen very often where they actually get busted for this. Why would that be?
Well, a lot of people are ashamed, embarrassed, humiliated if they invest in something where they become they don't want to be looked at as a sucker. They don't know to call anybody. They don't complain to anybody. And if they complain to the SEC doesn't do anything unless there's a massive amount of people involved and a lot of money. And the SEC is involved in civil actions. They don't put people in jail. They do civil enforcement. So you got to get it to the Justice Department. You got to get it to either a state securities attorney or a U.S. prosecutor. And they just are overwhelmed as it is with other prosecutions. So white-collar corporate crime is kind of on the back burner in America.
Yeah, and not that you can understand, but at the same time, they are tackling a lot of big issues, aren't they?
Well, a lot of non-corporate crime issues. The problem is that if you're on the street and you steal a purse from a lady, maybe you get 6 months or a year in the county jail. But if you're on Wall Street or if you're doing one of these criminal activities, you steal $120 million, you walk away scot-free because it's just not on the list of important issues for the Justice Department, and the SEC's got the revolving door. Basically, you go to work at the SEC for a couple of years, and then you're assured a very high-paying job protecting companies from your former employer, the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, by the way, do you have a website that we can refer to for people to get more information about what you're doing?
The website's the same name as my new book, Make Wall Street Pay You Back, and the website is MakeWallStreetPayYouBack.com.
MakeWallStreetPayYouBack.com.
And the book, Make Wall Street Pay You Back, if people will read that, they will become informed of the dramatically different method in which Wall Street operates today compared to 20 years ago. It's been a complete paradigm change, and if you want to be an investor and not become a victim, you've got to understand the new rules and the new game. And it's a short read, it's an easy read, it's an inexpensive book. I didn't write it to make money. I wrote it to inform the investing public.
Yeah. So you're saying that in spite of excessive regulations beyond belief, it's become even less safe for investors?
Yeah, it isn't that we need more regulation. It's that we need a difference in the attitude and in the priorities of the government to go after white-collar criminals. Look, here's a perfect example. Corzine, former governor of New Jersey, took over a company, a commodity company, MF Global, and when things got in trouble because of very, very bad bets he made, he stole $1.3 billion with a B dollars of his own customers' accounts to cover the problems that he had with his bad investments. He walked away scot-free. Why? Very politically connected to the Obama administration, very politically connected to Congress. He's walking around a free man. Mazzillo, the former head of Countrywide Mortgage, who was the perpetrator of the largest mortgage scam in American history, had friends in Congress they called Friends of Mazzillo, or Angelo. He walked away scot-free, leaving behind the mortgage debacle, which caused a major cause of the '08 crisis that we're still trying to recover from. He's walking away scot-free. They don't prosecute big-time criminals on Wall Street.
So let me ask you, how big do you think the problem is compared to what we know about? I mean, kind of give me some context.
Context. The FBI, in a financial crimes report, said that fraud since 2008, investment fraud, is up 52% since '08. And that's since the crisis. In addition, the FBI estimates that there is $50 billion in investment fraud and scam losses per year. And many of these people are seniors and retired people who don't have the time or the ability to make that money back. So it's a pervasive problem, underreported and undercovered in the media.
Yeah, and I guess it's because there's so many more, quote, sexier stories out there.
That and you know, you got with 0% interest rates, people are flocking to the stock market thinking this is the only place left to invest, and therein lies the next bubble to burst. And when this bubble bursts, it's going to be a disastrous bubble because a lot of people think they have safe investments, and they aren't safe. They're just being promoted as safe.
John Lawrence Ellen, he's been our guest. By the way, he's been on a lot of different news programs. Delighted he had time for ours. He has a new book. And give that the website for people to learn more about it one more time, John.
Sure. Books, Make Wall Street Pay You Back, and the website's the same name, MakeWallStreetPayYouBack.com. Lots of information in there. You could spend hours. It's all informative to teach you how to protect yourself not to become a victim and what you can do in the case you have become a victim, how you can get your money back.
This interview and an accompanying article by one of my team over at usdailyreview.com will be found over there probably in the next couple of days, so you definitely want to keep an eye on usdailyreview.com, our sister news website. John, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. I am Kevin Price. This is The Price of Business.
Blinded by the light,